He's the floating eyeball with magnet ears, no limbs, but a whole lot of heart. But can this little Magnemite take on the whole of FireRed by himself? Hi, I'm Barkanine, and today we're going to be answering just that question. So, Magnemite as a Pokemon does not have excellent base stats. Its HP and attack are awful. However, it does redeem itself with some pretty nice special attack, and we will be relying on that. In Gen 3, Magnemite does pick up some good special attacking stab electrical moves, like Thunder Shock, Spark and Zap Cannon. It can also bolt on, pardon the pun, Thunderbolt and Thunder. Let's see what we will end up going with. The rules are only Magnemite can be used in battle, other Pokemon can be used as HM slaves, no glitches or exploits, and no items to be used in battle. Outside of battle is okay, but not inside. So I decided to call my character What, and my rival was called Who. Why, you ask? Well, it makes Professor Oak look like a senile old man. He was like, what? Who? Huh? Where am I? So I started off using the advanced starter system to change Bulbasaur into a Magnemite. That way I could start off the run from the very beginning with Magnemite. I decided to call it That Shit. As in, what? That shit's evolving? Which gave me endless hours of humor throughout this run. Of course, the rival chose Charmander, which will grow to be a big problem later in the run. However, in the first battle, we were able to use our steel type advantage to take the victory. Out in the wild, we were able to level up pretty quickly, gaining the move Thunder Shock. Thunder Shock is a special attack and electric move, which made progressing to level 16 very easy. At level 16, That Shit learned Sonic Boom, which was the key to beating Brock, as every time you use Sonic Boom, it always deals 20 hit points of damage. I was able to use Sonic Boom. It only took 2 Sonic Booms to take down Brock's Geodude, and when he sent out Onix, the same approach was quite handy. Onix was able to get some tackle damage on us, but it did hardly anything, and we got ourselves the Boulder Badge. I then went through Mount Moon and of course took on the Helix Fossil. Not that it's going to be useful in this run, but I wanted the guidance of Lord Helix throughout this almost impossible run. By the time we got to Cerulean, I went straight into the Cerulean gym and took on Misty. Her Staryu outspeeded us, unsurprisingly I guess, but Thundershock was able to take it down in a single hit. I was feeling confident at this point, but Starmie once again outspeeded us, and it would have taken a Thundershock to take her down in one to not be taken out by a second Water Pulse. Luckily at level 26, That Shit decided to learn Spark, which is an even more powerful electrical special attack move. So I got rid of Thundershock and taught That Shit Spark. Despite being outsped, Spark was able to do the damage on Staryu, and when Starmie came out, even though it was able to get a Water Pulse away on us, we were able to kill it in one shot, gaining the Cascade Badge. Next up was the Nugget Bridge encounter with our rival Who. His whole team was completely under level for this fight, so it was a simple one-hit KO streak. The next time we met him was on the SS Anne in order to find ourselves cut. This battle went similarly, with most of his team going down to single sparks. However, I, being the perpetual genius, decided to try something different with Kadabra for future reference, and it actually ended up slowing down the battle. Finally, we got a spark away and we were able to continue. I caught an Ekans and I promptly named it Cut, but unfortunately Cut was not able to learn Cut, weirdly, so I caught a Diglett instead, and luckily Diglett could learn the move Cut. Weird, I know. I would have thought Ekans would have been able to use Cut. It's a snake, it can bite through trees and stuff. Anyway, Into Lieutenant Surge's gym. We went straight in after the SS Anne and tried to Sonic Boom down Voltorb, which also knew Sonic Boom. So it was a race of Sonic Booms. He had the option of using items like Super Potion, and that sucked because it meant we lost out, and he finished us off eventually with a Shockwave, which is the biggest insult. An electric Pokemon going down to an electric move like Shockwave. After leveling up a little bit, that shit learnt the move Swift. Swift is a really important move for this run, especially Lieutenant Surge's gym, as he likes to use moves like Double Team a lot. Swift did a lot more damage than Sonic Boom did, and we were able to take down Voltorb in just 2 hits. Pikachu came out next, and I was able to take it down in a single critical Swift. Then it was Raichu's turn. I knew that Lieutenant Surge still had quite a few items to use, so I wanted to get him down into the Amber before and then hit a critical. It didn't happen that way. He used Super Potion. We were getting down to really low health at this point. But he decided to use Shockwave. I'm not sure if he has other moves like Slam, I presume, but Shockwave was his go-to move, and it got us down to only 8 hit points when we were able to Swift it and take it out. Next was Erika. Erika proved to be another simple gym. Spark did the job very well and got her Victory Bell paralyzed on the first hit. She then paralyzed us, but no matter, Spark did the rest of the job despite not being very effective. Tangela went down to 1 Spark, and Volplume took a couple of Swifts to take out as well. So we got ourselves the next badge. Next up was Giovanni, and Giovanni can exploit a lot of the weaknesses of Magnemite. So taking on his Onix needed a new strategy. So I decided to learn the move Screech, which really harshly lowered Onix's defense, and then Swift would do the rest of the job. However, I'd have to survive a lot of attacks whilst I did this. I could use Shockwave on Kangaskhan because it's not ground type for some reason, and we were able to get the victory. We then headed to Lavender Tower to take on the rival, and due to all the levels I needed to put onto that shit in order to beat Giovanni, this was a walk in the park. His whole team once again went down to a single Spark, and he also had Gyarados, which Spark was 4 times super effective against. We then went to Koga. Koga was surprisingly easy in this run. Our special attacking moves were able to take him out, and when he did try to make things complicated by minimizing, we had the TM Shockwave, which allowed us to hit every single time because it never misses. His coughings were easy to take down, but his wheezing, he decided to use quite a lot of hyper potions. Eventually we got it down to enough health where we could take it out. In the Silph Company building, we took on the rival again, and I thought we were in for another routine victory. However, it turns out he has a Charizard at this point in the game, which outspeeded us. All it took was 1 flamethrower, and that shit went down, showing how frail a Magnemite can be. We eventually got up to level 60, and the same result. We needed some more levels. Eventually, after grinding up to level 70, it took me a lot of time, but we were able to get enough of a speed advantage to take out Charizard in 1 hit, and the rest of his team soon followed suit. Using Spark, we were able to almost one-shot most of his team and finish him off when that didn't work. After victory, we picked up a Lapras, which was given to us in the building, and we called it Surf. Time to take on Giovanni once again. While his Nidorino went down to a Spark, I was forced to use the Screech and Swift strategy to take on his Nidoqueen. It took quite a lot of doing, but eventually we got a lucky critical hit, and it went down to another Swift. Giovanni's Kangaskhan also went down to a critical Swift. His Rhyhorn, however, required a lot of screeching and swifting, which was dangerous as our health was falling to a dangerously low level at this point. Luckily, After a couple of Swifts and Rhyhorn deciding to use Scary Face instead of using attacking moves, we were able to get the luck we needed to take it out. Sabrina was surprisingly easy also. Her, as we'd seen through all of our battles with rival Kadabras and Alakazams, can be beaten easily with a single spark, and the rest of her team followed suit. Her Alakazam did hold on a little longer, but soon fell. Next up was Blaine, and I was pretty fearful about some of his Pokemon having powerful fire moves which would have taken us down, no doubt, if they hit. So the key here was speed, and Spark was able to take down his Growlithe as well as his Ponyta. Rapidash went down surprisingly easily to a single Spark. However, his Arcanine was a bit more bulky and was actually able to hold on with a little bit of health. One Fire Blast took us straight to 0, and we had to try again at level 75. This time Spark hit to almost take out Arcanine, and his Fire Blast nearly took us out, but we survived with 9 HP. Blaine used a Hyper Potion, so we decided to spam Spark, and once again got a paralysis on Arcanine. His big mistake was using full heal, and we were able to use one final Spark to take him out. Next was Giovanni. This has to be the hardest gym of the entire run. His Pokemon are all equipped with the move Earthquake, which for some reason can affect Magnemite. Of course, it doesn't have Levitate, so my strategy was to use Double Team and Reflect. I had to sacrifice the move Spark in order to get enough evasive and defense raising stat moves to get through this gym, raising that shit up to level 92 in the process. I tried many times before but was unsuccessful. Then on one lucky run I was able to get some returns off. I also taught return to that shit, hoping his friendship would get us through. You'll have to understand about this run how lucky I was that all of his Pokemon must have missed about 14 Earthquakes in a row. And I believe this was attempt 52, where I finally managed to get past him. On our way to Victory Road, we came across our rival Who once more. Whilst his Pidgeot was quick, it was no match for our new Thunderbolt move, which I had to go to Casino and play like a madman to get. We were able to take out the rest of his team with no problems, including getting a lucky run of returns off and a critical hit on his Rhyhorn. I knew that when the time came again to fight our rival as a champion, things would be a little trickier, so I was happy to get this out of the way in very little time. Then it was time for the Elite Four, and we took on Lorelei. Lorelei's team, being ice and water types, were particularly weak against that shit. It only took a single Thunderbolt on each of her Pokemon to get us through. After multiple failed attempts against Bruno, I knew it was time to change up tactics. So I employed a new move, Toxic, and put it to good use. The thing about Bruno is his rock Pokemon were extremely hard to take down, and a single Earthquake could normally take us out, especially if it was a crit. So I had to maximize our evasiveness with Double Team and rely on Toxic and Return to get through his first Onix. His Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee were fighting types, therefore Thunderbolt would affect them and was able to take them both down in one shot. Bruno's super dangerous Machamp proved not to be very dangerous at all, and it went down to a single Thunderbolt. He then sent out Onix, which, despite our maxed evasiveness, got us to mid-health with an Earthquake. We had to grind it down slowly when it hit us with another Earthquake. We were on 14 health and required a hell of a lot of luck just to get through the rest of the battle. I hit it with Toxic and then Return, and hoped after a critical hit that would be enough for the poison damage to do the rest. Luckily, he missed his attack and we got through to Agatha. Agatha was surprisingly easy. Again, none of her Pokemon resisted our immense special attacking electrical moves, so we were able to take them down no problem whatsoever, especially Golbat. Her last Gengar did actually get a little bit of damage off with a Shadow Ball, but it was not very effective. Next up was the Dragon Legend himself. Our lucky Helix Fossil was clearly watching over us as we got a crit on the second Dragonair. He then sent out his ace Pokemon Dragonite, which took one of our Thunderbolts. He then used Safeguard, and his Citrus Berry actually worked against him as it took him out of potion range, and another Thunderbolt was all it took to take him down. Ancient Power did very little damage as Aerodactyl went first, but a single Thunderbolt was all it took to exploit its flying type weakness, and we moved on to the champion. It was then time for the final battle. Champion who versus competitor what? I was really hyped up after beating Lance on the first try, so I thought I'd just go gun-ho, Thunderbolt, and I was able to take out Pidgeot on the first hit with a super effective Thunderbolt. He then sent out his Charizard, which I knew I had problems with in the past, and yep, it outspeeded us, and was able to get a super effective Fire Blast off, ending the dream. When I did try again and managed to get through to Rhydon, all it took was a single Earthquake and we were down. So I knew I had to change my strategy. I decided to max our evasiveness with Double Team before taking out Pidgeot. This also failed many times, but on one lucky occasion, Charizard missed its Fire Blast and I was able to take it down with a single Thunderbolt. I then used Toxic on Rhydon and it was missing Earthquakes left, right and center. It took a lot of work, but after missing what must have been about 14 Earthquakes in a row, we finally got into range where Toxic did its work and we were able to get past. At this point, I knew we were on the home straight. We did miss a Thunderbolt at a crucial moment. Gyarados also missed its Hydro Pump, which I'm sure would have killed us. I then got a Thunderbolt off on Gyarados, taking it down in a single hit. Alakazam was no match at all for Thunderbolt, but Executor was resistant to it and survived. However, although he used Light Screen to boost his special defense, he could not survive the might of that shit's Thunderbolt. And there it was. We completed the game with only Magnemite in battle. So, can you beat Pokemon FireRed with just Magnemite? Yes, you can. Should you? Probably not if you value your mental health. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this challenge. Please do suggest to me in the comments what you'd like to see next. I can't wait to see you on the next video. Bye.